All right, today we are going to crack open the study notes for what might be one of the most intense job interviews you'll ever see. We're diving deep into the prep work for a highly technical role in the Merchant Navy. So, get this. What do Hitler's political party, a chemistry formula, and the day-to-day jobs of a decadent all have in common? I know, it sounds like the start of a really weird joke, right? But the answer is, they're all things a candidate needs to know to land just one single job. And that's the world we're going to decode today. Okay, just take a second and look at this. You've got historical slogans, calculus, vocabulary, the capital of Russia, the equation for a circle. I mean, where would you even begin? How do you possibly study for this? It feels completely overwhelming. And you know what? That's kind of the point. But don't worry, we're about to bring some order to all this chaos. We're going to ask, is this test really impossible? Then we'll find the method in the madness. We'll step inside the interview room, figure out what they're really testing, and finally, see why this is so much more than just a job. So let's be super clear here. That absolute jumble of information we just saw, that's not for a final university exam or some game show. Nope. This is the actual study guide, pieced together by candidates for one very specific goal, passing the entrance evaluation for the Merchant Navy. And that right there, that gets to the very heart of this whole thing. The test isn't designed to check if you've memorized the formula for acetaldehyde. No way. It's designed to see how you react when you get hit with a dozen different problems from a dozen different fields all at once. It's a test of your mental agility, your ability to stay calm, and just how well you've prepared. Okay, so how do you even start to make sense of this? Well, you do it the same way you'd climb a huge mountain. You break it down, one piece at a time. The moment we start grouping these questions into categories, a hidden structure starts to appear. It all starts to make sense. First up, foundational physics. You've got questions on power, on energy, boiling points, heat, temperature. This is the absolute bedrock. Think about it. For a technical job on a massive ship out at sea, understanding the physical world around you isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely essential for survival. All right, next up, practical math. And notice the word practical. They aren't asking you to write out some abstract theoretical proof. They're testing if you can think on your feet and perform quick, logical calculations under pressure. Whether it's probability or percentages, it's all about sharp, applied thinking. And then you get hit with general knowledge. Historical quotes, world geography, political history. You might be wondering, why does this matter? Well, because a life at sea is a global one. You're constantly moving between cultures and countries. They're looking for people who are curious, who are aware of the wider world they're going to be sailing through. So now for the interesting part. How does all this cramming and studying actually play out when you're sitting in the hot seat, face to face with the interviewer? Because that study guide, well, that's just your ticket to get into the room. And this slide right here shows everything. It shows that massive leap from theory to real-world application. See, you don't just state the formula for viscosity, they ask you how temperature would affect it. You don't just define latent heat, you have to give a proper definition of a boiling point. The prep sheet gives you the words, but the interview tests if you can actually speak the language. This brings us to the real secret of the interview. They're digging for something much, much deeper than just memorized facts. Take something like Ohm's law. They're not just checking if you can say voltage equals current times resistance. They want to know if you get it. Can you explain it simply? Like, think of electricity like water in a hose. Voltage is the water pressure, current is how much water is flowing, and resistance is like pinching the hose. They're testing if you can take a concept and make it real. You see, every single question has a hidden purpose. That technical question about resonance, that's a direct test of your technical acumen. A simple word problem about a man's speed, that's about your on-the-spot problem solving. A personal question like, why were your physics grades low? Bam, that's a test of self-awareness. And the big one, what if you don't get selected? That's a pure test of your resilience. And that's when the interview pivots. It moves beyond the technical stuff and gets deeply personal. This is the part where they find out who you really are, not just what you know. They have to be sure you have the character to handle the incredible pressures of being isolated at sea for months at a time. Listen to this question, which came directly from a candidate's interview. When I was a cadet, I used to wash toilets for 2 months. Are you aware of it? Wow. Now, that's not about your knowledge of plumbing, is it? It's a test of humility. It's a reality check. They need to know, right then and there, if you understand that this job starts with hard, unglamorous work, and if you're willing to do it. And they'll keep pushing. They'll ask why you want this job over a military career.
They'll hit you with intense hypotheticals about a family member getting sick while you're thousands of miles away. These questions are designed to stress you out, to see how you think under pressure, and to find out if you truly, truly understand the sacrifice this life demands.
So, after cracking this code, what's the big takeaway? Number one, the chaos is the point. That crazy list is designed to test your ability to create order and prepare for absolutely anything. Two, you have to connect theory to practice. Knowing a formula means nothing if you can't explain what it does in the real world. And three, know yourself. Your character and your resilience are being interviewed just as much as your brain. In the end, this whole grueling process isn't just about finding navigators or engineers. It's about finding resilient, self-aware, and deeply committed people. The test forces you to ask not just what you know, but to figure out who you really are. And honestly, that's a question worth preparing for, no matter what you decide to do with your life.